Hello and welcome to episode 13 of the Board States podcast. I'm your host, the radical Reggie, joined by the jubilant Jazz. And today we've got a very fun main topic for you, as always, where we'll be talking about big games in small packages. And after that, we always have an En La Mesa, our first impression section. Today, I'll be talking about the 2024 Spectacular, and Jazz has a small box twofer for us, talking about Botswana and Cellar. And we're going to have a state of mind as per usual. We'll start with that. I'll give a little trivia. But before that, today, I thought we would just do maybe a new segment, one sentence, quick shout out to something or someone that is within our hobby or within the world that we just really are appreciating. Because I, last night, was reading my Senate magazine, S-E-N-E-T, which I think is out of the UK. And it is a board game magazine, and I love it so much. It makes me very happy. I was reading it with a reading light. Can't get more geeky than that, but it really brings me so much joy. So I got to shout out the Senate magazine. Do you have a quick shout out, Jazz?
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to my local game store, Mr. E's Game World, right here in Berlin, New Jersey, Camden County. Jim over there is the owner. But they're just an awesome store, very welcoming. They have, used board games. They have a good selection of, the new hotness. Very good pricing. I know it's normally like anywhere from like sometimes 10 to 15% under MSRP. So Jim does a really good job of trying to welcome people in. So big shout out to Jim over there. So if you're ever in the Philadelphia area, honestly, it's probably about a 35-minute drive from Philly. Go give a check. Give a shout out and go check out Mr. E's Game World.
Go give a check. Yeah, go hand him a check and buy a board game with the check.
I don't know if he takes check. I don't know if they do check that, but they do card, whatever you want to do, they take it. But awesome because I like the fact that they'll bring in those sometimes those Kickstarters and Game Found games when I forget to back them. So that's another good thing.
Perfect. Love it. Thank you. So I just thought today, let's give some love out. This really might be a recurring thing. Let us know what you think in the email in the comments below. All right, Jazz, let's get to it. Let's get our brain working. We are recording in the morning. Again, this is our second morning recording. So I think our brain juices are flowing here. Jazz has been working a lot, so I don't know. He's a little sleep deprived, you guys. So just let him be if he doesn't get things right. I have a funny little one here that I'm calling Hocus Focus. Okay, Hocus Focus. There is probably one listener that will know what I'm referencing here. Shout out to my buddy Joey. Our college football coach used to make us do these, like spot the differences. It would be like a little, like a little comic picture of a
like a Where's Waldo
and sure, but then there'd be two pictures and you'd have to find what the differences were between the two like seemingly identical pictures.
Gotcha.
I don't know, he would make us do it at the end of meetings, and I look back, I'm like, was it for our attention span? I don't know, but we loved it. We got really excited about it. We would be very loud in in the conference room during the sports meeting. So what I decided, because of course I had to make it board gamey and I had to focus on the lovely Board Game Geek, which again, I know a lot of you out there aren't as nerdy as me, even Jazz, not checking Board Game Geek all the time, but I'm going to keep evangelizing. It has so much information. So I wanted to pick 3 games that were March related because we're in the month of March, okay? And each of the games, it's something on the Board Game Geek page. So I'm going to maybe give you a designer, maybe give you a rank, maybe give you the player count. I'm going to give you 5 items from that game. And you just have to tell me, you have a 1 in 5 chance, which of those things is incorrect, which one is different, which one is not actually legally on the page here. So the first game I was thinking of March. I was thinking of March 15th. I was thinking of Ides of March, and that made me think of the assassination of Julius Caesar, of course. So I thought of Caesar, ! Seize Rome in 20 minutes, ! Are you aware of this game? You don't share any information about it, but are you aware of the game?
I am aware of this game, yes.
Okay. So I'm going to give you 4 things about Caesar, Seize Rome in 20 minutes, okay?
Gotcha.
Its rank in the war category is 134. It is for 1 to 2 players. It is a 20-minute game. It's right there in the title. designed by one of the, and I should say, whenever I do a designer or a publisher, it's one of the designers or one of the publishers or one of the mechanisms is Simone Luciani. And it as one of the mechanisms is simulation. Okay. So which of these do you think is incorrect? And again, as always, the state of mind people, you dearest gentle listeners, the DGLs, you can play along, of course. And today we are playing for Asopao. Jazz, are you? I can't believe I didn't bring this up. Like, my mom made asopao all the time, and it's in a lot of the Caribbean, and it's got a lot of different things. But it is like a thicker chicken soup. Usually in Puerto Rico, it's asopao de pollo, which is chicken. But people will do it with camarones, which is shrimp. They'll do it with beef and other seafood. My mom always did it with olives and potatoes. And I've seen a lot of these pictures, but I've seen a lot of these pictures with like plantains, with rice. My mom, like, we would put it over rice. But it was really like olives, green olives and potatoes is what always was in there. And then obviously the same onions, pepper, garlic, oregano, and sazon and all that, sofrito. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of asopao?
Asopao, yes, with either, like you said, with the rice in it or put it over the rice, or with the fideos, which is like, spaghetti noodles, little.
Oh, yes, of course.
Pasta noodles.
I've seen that too.
Yeah, so, you give it to me. It's nice. It's a little bit chilly over here on the East Coast. We had like 83-degree weather like 2 days ago, and now it's like, it snowed yesterday, so.
Gosh, that's so weird. I mean, how could you explain that? What's going on in the world? We need to play Daybreak. Everybody needs to play Daybreak. Okay, so Caesar, back to Caesar. It was War 134, 1 to 2 players, 20 minutes, Simone Luciani, and simulation. Which of those do you think is incorrect?
I'm stuck between the rank.
Okay.
And the designer, only because you said this could be one of the designers. I know
Yes,
Paulo More is the designer on this game. And I'm just gonna go with my gut that it is not a Simone Luciani like partnership design. That's my guess.
Yeah. And you would be correct. Good job. It is only a Paulo Mori design. There's a couple other people for solo designing, like David Turchi's on it for the solo design. Yeah.
Okay.
Good job. I thought that might throw you off. I was like, let me throw a different Italian designer in here.
Yeah, you almost got me.
But War rank 134, I feel like is very high. So I thought
I'm
that was
surprised
really cool.
for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing I think about when I think of March is St. Patrick's Day, which makes me think of Ireland. So I wanted to find a game within Ireland. The most popular game in terms of just votes on Board Game Geek that has the country Ireland in its classification is Inish, which is INIS. Okay, and I can't say anything else about it. But are you aware of Inish?
I am aware of the game. Yes.
Okay, Inish. I'm going to give you 5 things about Inish. All right, it came out in 2016. Its overall rank is 122. It is for 2 to 5 players. One of the mechanisms is area majority, and it is a Golden Geek nominee from the year that it was released.
Ooh.
So which is incorrect? Inish, 2016, 122 rank, 2 to 5 players, area majority, Golden Geek nominee.
Oh, I'm still stuck on that rank and then the player count, because I think this might go up to 6 players. I know it's area majority. I know that. I think 2016.
Yeah, I think that was the big giveaway.
Yeah, I think 2016 is right around that spot, because I know it's had a couple republishings and it's got picked up. My guess is going to say that 122 overall Board Game Geek ranking.
That is a good guess.
It's the player count.
It's the player count, and it's actually the other direction.
Oh,
it's
2 to 4
players.
Okay. Okay.
So that's good. I wonder if anybody got that right. I know there's some Inish players out there. This is one of the area majority games that I want to play. Inish and Blood Rage. I can't believe I haven't played either, but those are very high on my list.
Gotcha.
To try.
I know Inish has always come up in the talks of like Cyclades and Kemet. Because they all came out around the same time, and I've only played Kemet.
Okay, wow, yeah, I really I want to play Inish, so maybe we got to put that on our list for the next convention. Which, by the way, currently recording all of my, like, it feels like everybody I know on Earth is at Dice Tower West.
DTW.
And I'm just, my heart is so broken, but I am here with my beautiful 8-week-old baby, so it's worth it. Okay. The other thing I think of when I think of March, the final thing is March Madness.
Yes.
I'm thinking of basketball.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, what is the biggest basketball game is Basket Boss, okay? Basket Boss. So here are the 5 things about Basketboss. It came out in 2022. 2 to 5 players. A 1.22 weight out of 5, like complexity. One of the mechanisms is auction and bidding. And the publisher is All Play, also known as board game tables, to be fair to you. So 2022, 2 to 5 players, 1.22 weight, auction and bidding, publisher All Play. What are your... It's a tough one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the player count here. 2 to 5.
Okay. You think 2 to 5, yeah. And
yes.
that is incorrect. It is 2 to 5 players.
Publisher?
Publisher is All Play. It says board game tables, which it was.
Okay,
it is actually the weight. I brought it down like almost a whole point. It's like 1.92 or something like that, or 0.7. Yeah, but that's close. You're right. You're right there. I was like, that's a tough one.
That is a tough one. I'm aware of that game. Was that a Mario Keel design, if I'm correct?
I'm not.
I forget the designer.
Apparently it was a 2009 game that got reprinted by Board Game Tips. You should look into it because it looks cool. I'm like, there's not, like we've said it in like episode 1. There's not enough sports themed games out there, and we talked about baseball highlights last episode, but there's that. Okay. Gotcha. That was you earned 1 small cup of asopao, my mother's homemade recipe. We still got Puerto Rican cuisine here. We're gonna keep going until we run out, and then I'll open up to the entire America's diaspora. But there's that. Okay, that's our state of mind. We're trying to be a little quicker here these days. So just let you know, we're gonna be on task here. We're gonna be on task. So. The main topic today is big game, small packages, and Jazz will be the first one to talk about one of his games. We don't share our list with each other, but before that, I just want to shout out some notable publishers in this design space. And again, you don't have to mention games if it spoils things for you, but like we just mentioned All Play, and I think All Play lately has been doing a really good job at bringing out games with a lot of game in them in small packages, especially their small square boxes.
I would agree.
Which I really love. Yep. And then even smaller than that, I forget what they call them, the tiny games or
the tiny box games.
Tiny box games. Yeah. And I love those too. I don't think those have as much game space a lot of the time, but man, that's a big one. Gamehead is a recent one that I've covered on the podcast. We talked about First Class Letters and Trinket Trove. I think those are big. Is there any that you could think of right off the top of your head before? I have a couple more.
I think every time I think of like a lot of game in a smaller package, I think of the smaller boxed, like that rectangle small box, like White Castle from DeVere. DeVere puts those barely anything fits in the box when you try to put it back.
I know.
But there's just they put like this heavy, like it feels like it's a chunky euro, medium to medium heavyweight euro into the smaller boxes, and you get more bang for the buck because many of those games are like $30, $35 at most. So you get your money's worth.
That's a great point. I will say that DeVere White Castle box, we were like, for you listening, how we came up with these lists, we kind of said that's the cap. We said no, it can't be bigger than Red Cathedral. So if you're wondering, that's what we were saying. Red Cathedral is the cap for us. For making this. That's great. I do think the even smallers, like the Button Shies, I think the Oink games should get a little shout out here too. They're very noticeable. And honestly, anything Japanese.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree.
I mean, even me, we did my top 10 Emotep's on there. It is a travesty. Like Emotep's box should not be as big as it is. Like it would be so awesome if these publishers, especially US publishers, would, instead of doing box bloat, would put more in it, like pack them in more densely. Like I just got to play Nakosu Dice, which was the Japanese version, trick taking with dice and everything. I was blown away how much was in the box. Like I only got to play it one time, so it's kind of like an honorable mention here. But like I just they could fit so much more in these boxes, and they're choosing not to. And I know there's a marketing reason for it, but I feel like when it comes to my shelf space, when it comes to traveling with games, when it comes to buying games at a convention and bringing them home, if it's smaller, I'm more likely to buy it. So it's just like I wish that they would do that type of stuff.
I'd agree. 100%.
Yeah. So, all right, Jazz, why don't you give them something that's small but mighty?
This game, I think, has gotten so much love. It's a re-implementation of a very well-known two-player game from Repost Productions. This is a 2024 design, and I couldn't go, when you said this, I couldn't go without saying Lord of the Rings, Duel for Middle-earth. I think this is one of those games that pretty much took on the smaller box, even smaller box version, Seven Wonders Duel. I think you can put any of these two games in this slot. But pretty much this is a card drafting game off the pretty much whims of the Seven Wonders, the big box Seven Wonders game, where there's going to be various iconography on these cards that are going to give you like scientific, and I'm just going to go with let's talk more Seven Wonders Duel here, right? Like you have the science-based cards, you have the battle type icons, and you're just pretty much drafting cards that are going to be face up in this tableau. Some cards are going to be face down, and the strategy of going back and forth between your opponent on which card you're going to draft on your turn, and you can actually afford to draft, right? And offer up, because sometimes you're going to be releasing or revealing a card to your opponent, and that tacticalness of that game of when and what's the right time to reveal a card to your opponent, because then they're going to get that first chance at potentially drafting a card that you obviously don't know what it is, and it comes through. But I say the Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle-earth because it added this like really cool tug of war element into this, like, you know, escaping with the One Ring, right? And then, you know, Sauron kind of coming to try to, you know, capture you. But I think thematically it was dripped in and oozing in theme.
Yes.
This little like area, this little area majority kind of like map that kind of went into there. There was so much elements. They took one of my favorite all-time two-player games in Seven Wonders Duel. They took it, they didn't just reskin it, they added more elements to it, and thematically added these more elements to it. And it made it seem like it was a heavier game, more game in there, but not any more complex, which I love. And this is like I said, it's a 2024 design. If you can get your hands on it, I said you should just get your hands on it. I think it's like maybe a $25, $30 board game. Awesome two-player.
I think I was just looking. I think
it might be
like
older.
40.
Okay.
Yeah, which I know is a little pricey, but it's for what's in the box. Like, you're right. Like, it's
Maybe I'm going back to like the 10% that I got off at Mr. E's Game World, and also probably had some store credit along the way. I don't know.
Great shout out. Great shout out.
but yeah, this is a great one. I don't know. This is an Antoine Bowles' design, and Bruno Cathala. Yeah, they kind of combined to do this one. It's just a great design. If you're a fan of Lord of the Rings, this is a must-have in your collection. And if you're not a fan of Lord of the Rings, then just go get Seven Wonders Duel, and there's expansions to it that you can still fit into the base game box because there's still some room in there. I played this one and I immediately got rid of Seven Wonders Duel. I saw no need to continue having it, and I love this game. I don't know about you, Reg.
I do love it, and I do prefer it, and I wish that Her Majesty the Queen would play this with me because I would buy it. And that's the only reason I don't own it. I love Lord of the Rings. You know, everybody knows that about me. But I will say the biggest difference, I mean, yes, the theme is amazing. The art is amazing. The gameplay doesn't change that much, but the biggest difference for me from the original is instead of the tiebreaker being, if nobody gets one of the victory conditions, there's just victory points in the regular Seven Wonders Duel. Yeah. In this one, they've got that area majority piece that you were talking about, and that is what determines who wins if someone doesn't get the instant win condition. Yeah. And I think that is a huge increase because in Seven Wonders Duel, it's just like you might as well grab the point sometimes. There's so many times where and I just like that that's no longer a choice that I feel like I have to make. If you've ever heard the story, I probably need to fact check this. We'll have our producers do some research on it. Is that I heard the story that Antoine Bowles, who did Seven Wonders, was on a plane coming back from a board game thing and happened to sit next to Bruno Cathala. They happened to sit next to each other, had never met. I'm pretty sure they're both French, or at least they both speak French. And so then they just started noodling, and they came up with the duel. Like Bruno Cathala is famous for bringing things to that dual or two-player version. You know, he also came on for Splendor Duel, you know, as an example. But they kind of came up with it on a plane ride, which is just so sick to me.
That's awesome.
So I love, somebody fact check that for us. Send us an email. Okay. That's a great one. Can't debate it. I am working on a YouTube video. I don't want to spoil too much, but like that game will be highlighted, is what I will say. Hopefully, pretty soon. All right. I'm going to talk about a 2023 game, so pretty new, and I gotta shout out my good friend Alba Meeples and Beninis, because if you gnar is what we say here, and that is KNARR here. This is published in the US by Pandasaurus Games. I think it's Bombix over in France or wherever it comes from. And it is a 2 to 4 player Viking themed, I would call it pretty much a strict engine building game. You know, it's got hand management and drafting and set collection, but really it comes down to an engine building game, and that is something I love. And when I tell you, I mean, Jazz can see it here, the size of the box is so small.
Yeah.
And the amount of game that is in here, this is the first game that came to mind when I thought of this, of terms of like, wow, like bringing this out, I can really play this with some gamers and we will be satisfied when we play Gnar. So you're like leading some Vikings, and they are represented by cards of 5 different colors, and they all have a symbol on them that give you a little bonus. You know, it might just be a victory point. It might be a bracelet. It might be a helmet for those 2 tokens, which are really nice in the box as well, like nice little componentry as well. And you also can get, I forget, there's one more thing you get, and there's also reputation. And reputation is almost like an income situation, which is really cool in the game, that every turn at the beginning, based on your reputation, you'll earn some points. So you can start really getting a big engine of reputation so that every turn you're getting a lot of points. And so all you do is play a card down into your tableau. And a little bit like a game we've talked about many times, and we're constantly playing on Board Game Arena, like Zenith. When you play it into that column, you get the symbol on the card triggers, and everything in that column triggers. So if I play a victory point down that's purple, and I already have a bracelet and a helmet in the purple section, I'll get all 3 of those things right away. Then on a future turn, what you can do is trade out, which is thematically you're sending these Vikings out on an expedition. You get to discard cards from your tableau to send them on a mission and grab these big location cards, or I think they're called destination cards. And they go on top of your ship, and they start creating a vertical column that you can trigger later as well. So there's these 2 engines you're building. The cards you play down into your tableau are triggering as you keep playing more of the same color. And then when you send them away, you grab these new destinations, which have 3 columns, and you can trade your bracelets to trigger all the columns. So if you have 3 bracelets, you can trigger all 3 columns. And there's all these symbols that start lining up, and you just get this huge influx of points or whatever you're looking for in the game. And so that's the base game, and it's a race to 40 points, I believe. It's really, really straightforward. I love the kind of like larger, almost tarot size cards. And then the other thing about it is it even has one more step to it. You know, a lot of games will add in a variant or an optional play. They call this the artifacts, which this could have been an expansion. They could have sold this as an expansion. There's an artifacts variant in the box. It's like, hey, the first time you play, you don't need to play with this. But after you've played a few times, throw this in. And it's now like, oh, it's got a couple new, almost like events where it's like, if you do this on your turn, you get a bonus, you know? And so it kind of gives you a little bit of a guidance, everyone playing the game, and just a little bit of a more, another trigger that you can have, and that gives it more complexity. And I've only played with the artifacts like once or twice, and so both my games today are on Board Game Arena, which I wanted to not do that. I know we talk about Board Game Arena a lot, but it really is great. Go check it out on there if you can. I'm playing a game with Paula Deming right now. We're having a great time. I hope I win. So I shout out to Gnar from 2023. Have you played this game, Jazz, or know much about it?
No, I've seen the box cover. I didn't, know too much about it, but I know the guys over at Board Game Hangover are big fans of this one. So it kind of piqued my interest, and it's something that I kind of want to check out. I know that it was on BGA, so it's one of those I want to get a chance to, watch a video or read the rules and probably get a game on it. Yeah, I'm interested in this one.
Yeah, we'll do a little turn based. We love a little Tableau engine builder, and I do like turn. The big thing about turn based is I like when I come to the game and it's not too confusing
Yes.
what I'm supposed to do where I was, and so this is definitely that. But at the table again, it really gives you a satisfying crunch for the size of box, which is kind of the whole point of the episode. So, what's your number 2, Jazz?
My number 2, I would be remiss if I would not put in a worker placement game here. I'm
very intrigued. Wow. Whoa. What's coming out here? Whoa.
There's a lot of good 2-player or just small box worker placement games. This one is a 2-player worker placement game specifically. This is I guess the little cousin, the little brother, little sister of the big box game. This was originally a 2018 design. I think it had a redistribution. It came over to the States probably like later in the 2023 from famed Japanese designer Hisashi Hayashi, designer of Yokohama. This is from Synopsis Games, and it is Yokohama Duel.
Oh.
Now, I got a review copy of this sent over from Synopsis Games, and it was one of those where I was like, I didn't think too much about it. I remember seeing the Big Brother, Yokohama, seeing a video of it, and I was like, oh man, I would really love to play this game. But I was kind of turned off because there's so much setup with the cards. Like there's a bunch of cards that you have to display that become the worker placement, actions or spots. But I did get a Synopsis Games that said, hey, what would you like to check out? I said, I'd be interested in checking out Yokohama and Yokohama Duel. And I'll be honest, only Yokohama Duel showed up on my doorstep. And I was like, oh man, I really wanted to try the Big Brother, but I'll play this one. So I kind of originally just set it up like 2-handed. It's a 2-player worker placement game. And I played 2-hand. And Reg, I'm going to say after my first play, I was blown away.
Okay.
I was blown away. All right. And I know, for example, Targi is like when you talk about small box 2-player games, and this is one that I thought of in this spot was Targi.
Yeah.
And I said, this one blew it away for me as being my favorite small box 2-player worker placement game. Hands down. This one will easily climb up my favorite 2-player game list of all time very fast, the more and more that I play with it. But this one, it is. I after getting this too, playing, I says I don't even want to play the big box. I don't feel like I need to, because I'm going to play with a smaller player count anyway. And I think playing with 3 or 4 players, there's other games I would prefer to play. But at 2 players, this one is set in this in Yokohama, which was this like smaller, sleepy fishing village town, but now it's kind of like bustling, and there's like this Japanese trade kind of going on, and you're trying to work on this trade industry. And you're given a set, both players are given a hand of cards that are your workers, and each worker has a different value. I think it's 1 through 4 or 1 through 5. I forget the exact value of the starting workers. And pretty much you're going to be placing these workers out at various spots on this board. There's and these spots are going to give you you're going to be collecting like any resources, fish, I forget all the other different resources.
It said like copper and raw silk. I'm like, oh
yeah. So as you're going to, there's going to be various spots that you can go to. You can collect tea, collect fish, silk, and copper, right? But you're also going to be going to different spots that will allow you to like gain these church cards that give you end game victory points. There's a spot that's going to allow you to exchange goods for one another. So if you're really having a hard time like gathering certain resources, you can exchange certain resources for the other. And obviously in the worker placement game, some resources are going to be more valuable than others, so the exchange rate's going to be different. You can go to the bank to get money. You can go to the laboratory, I believe it is, to do some technology, because there's going to be some technology cards that are available to you that you can go, and those technology places will sometimes give you ongoing benefits for the rest of the game. And some of these are like feel like game broken like rules that you have only you have that benefit of. And you're like, man, I feel like I'm super powered. But then another one comes out and like dag, I wish I would have got that ability. But some of them offer you end game victory points. There is this custom spot where you're going to be being able to like import and export goods to score some points. But throughout the whole spot, you can only go to certain spots once, right? But you have the ability, like most worker placement games kind of have that grande worker element where you can kind of sneak in there.
Always comes back to viticulture, baby.
Yeah,
Always
right.
comes
And you can kind of sneak in there and still play a worker at that spot. But what's so interesting is that after every round, you get to upgrade one of your worker cards. So you can make
their higher number. Yeah.
That value 1 becomes a value 2. The value 2 becomes a value, and so on and so forth. And what's also interesting is that you have the ability to gain what they call, I think it's a foreign worker, which is, I think is a value 3 worker that pretty much allows you to have an additional worker, a la viticulture, where you can gain that additional worker card, right? But you only have it for that one specific turn. And then after you use it, it never comes back to you. It's, it goes back to the regular market. But what's so interesting is some spots, dependent on the value or the power of your worker, depends on like how many different things you're able to get and additional bonuses you're going to be able to receive in certain spots. But this is one thing where maximizing the power of your worker is important, and you're able to gain I guess I call them, like, they're called power up cards, where you can take your value 2 worker and then power it up to like a value 4 or 5 worker. And it's really, really crunchy, but man, this is a really good, tight design. And I've watched a lot of videos of Yokohama the Big Brother, and honestly, I think this one is the better game, just in my opinion, from what I've seen. Again, I haven't played Yokohama the Big Brother. I've watched playthroughs of it, but after playing this game, man, I'm enamored by this one. I love it that much.
Yeah, that's great. Wow, I have not even really heard that much about it. Shout out to Hisashi Hayashi. He is just doing some great stuff with
Bomb Busters.
Bomb Busters is a huge Kennerspiel winner. Yep,
Yokohama Trains. I know the most recent one from last year, a lot of people were talking about, was Railway Boom.
Yep. So I'm very excited about that one. Yeah. The thing I'll say about this is, I do have to bring it to viticulture, is, my wife and I love viticulture 2-player, but I truly, we have fun every single time, but the game really sings at 3-player. And I think designing a worker placement game for 2-player makes a big difference. That it seems like it'll be really great. And I haven't played many, so I got to put this on my list of games to check out.
Yeah. There's another one I will give it to you, but we'll talk after that, and I'll let you know another good 2-player worker placement game that flies well under the radar.
Well under the radar. Okay. We got to let the DGLs know. Okay. I really only picked 2 legit ones, and these are the 2 that came to my mind. So my second choice, I'm just going to say it right off the bat, also 2024, kind of blowing my mind. It is getting really highly ranked 241, and this is Castle Combo. Okay, so it's another tableau builder, and I have gone on record saying this, and I want to say it again. I truly think, and it's funny you just said this with watching playthroughs, but I do think that is a little different. But you really cannot judge a book by its cover in terms of board games. I truly believe that. Like, you never know if you're going to like something or not. That being said, I was just like, I don't want to like this game. I did not like the art. I think I played it one time on BGA and was like, whatever. I didn't understand it. And the big thing that made me mad is that year, I played 60 plays of Captain Flip, and I love Captain Flip. I was a stan for Captain Flip, and everybody's like, Captain Flip is garbage compared to Castle Combo, So I really felt, I felt like I wanted to defend Captain Flip by not liking Castle Combo. And I actually ended up getting a copy from Asmodee. So shout out, this is a review copy. I bought NAR with my own money, but Castle Combo was a review copy. And it's just great. I mean, I wanted to hate it, but it is a great game. Okay, so how it works, if you have managed to not play it in the last year and a half or so, because they have an expansion that just hit 2. It is a 2 to 5 player game, about 10 to 25 minutes, and you're pretty much only taking 9 turns, a la White Castle or something, and every turn you're taking a card from one of 2 rows, and you draft them from the 2 open markets to put into your grid, and it's got to be a 3x3 grid. when you place it down, a lot of the cards have, I think every single card has some sort of instant effect. So you get an ability based on what the status of your grid at the time. And then also they have end game bonuses with the victory point, the very traditional wax seal victory points, a la Res Arcana, something like that. What's interesting is you have these keys, and you start with a certain number of keys, and you have these coins. The coins help you buy the cards, and the keys allow you to mess around with the market. You can either refresh the market, or you can move to the other market. So there's the village market, and there's the castle market, and all these cards have all these different tags, lots of different colors. The blue represents the nobility, and the purple represents the nobility. The blue represents I forget what it is. The blue represents nobility. Purple represents the faith, the religious people and stuff. Green are the scholars. Yellow are the farmer people, and you want to get these combos and get certain numbers of tags. And they even have on the back of the rulebook that, purple cards are more likely to be in the castle row, and yellow cards are more likely to be in the village row. And so once you start learning all that, it has so much depth to it. And then you're looking for these specific combos, and based on, how the rows go, a little Sudoku-like, what it's adjacent to, if you collect 3 sets of each tag, it's got all the feeling of, the tag games. I'm not joking. The Arc Novas, the Terraforming Mars, those tags that make you feel good, Daybreak, in such a tiny package with these huge combos. And again, it's also got that grid like something like an Everdell, where you're really trying to get them all in a specific grid and play them out exactly how you want. And I think it does it in such a tiny package. It blows my mind. The biggest reason this game kind of won me over was I kept bringing it in my bag, right? I kept bringing it in my bag for game night. And I kept finding myself in a situation where I had 2 to 5 players. We wanted to play something that made our brain engage a little bit, and we only had about 20 minutes. And every single time I was like, this is the game. I'm like, this is the game that I'm going to pull out in this exact time window when I have gamers or non-gamers, and we only have about 20 minutes, and it just hits every time. And so I just have to give it some love. It's Castle Combo, the 2024. It's a great one.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the nose when you said it's a one game that you kind of didn't want to like or didn't think much of. And same thing, 2024 PAX Unplugged. I got together with some friends the Wednesday before. They were all out of towners. They came into town. And a few of them had been to Spiel, Essen Spiel, and they had brought this one back, and it had not hit the States yet. And I was like, okay, we'll play this quick 20 minutes. We were kind of waiting for someone else to play a bigger game, so we just brought this. I was like, this doesn't seem like much, but I'll give it a try. Again, the artwork didn't really wow me or anything, but after I was done, I was like, wow, that one was fun. Let's play again. It was good.
Yeah, and you want to. It's so fast that you can't. I didn't even mention 2 cool mechanisms. One is if you can't buy a card, which you can run out of money pretty quick.
Correct.
You can take it face down. You put it in your thing, and you get 8 gold and 2 keys for any card face down, something like that. And then the other thing is there's these purses, these coin purses, and you can fill them with all your remaining coins at the end of the game, and that is some huge points too. So there's some really interesting, there's way more mechanisms to it than at first glance is what I really want to highlight.
I did have one mistake when I did play this game not too long ago. It was inviting you to it on BGA because I lost.
Did we play? We got to play again. I have now played this one a lot. My buddies are actually nasty at this game. Shout out to the dads. They're pretty good at this game. We play it a lot. Yeah. It's a good one.
That's a fun one. My final game is one that I was introduced to from Tim over at Meepleville Board Game Cafe in Las Vegas. When I first got into content creation, I was part of a BGG live stream of just new content creators in the industry, and just people kind of got together. That's where I met Amanda Panda, Dwayne for the first time, Ilya and Tyler from Kavre, Amy and Maggie from Thinker Themer, and Tim, the owner of Meepleville Board Game Cafe, is a huge champion for this game. This is an 2010 design from Asmati Games. Carl Chuddik is the designer, and this is the only card game here, and it's called Innovation. This is a civilization-style building game all cards. It is a 100% tableau builder. So following up your tableau builder with another tableau builder. And this game it's weird when you play it, honestly. It's like one of those things that kind of...
That's what I've heard about. It is definitely a weird game. I have not played myself, so yeah, we're going to be playing soon.
It makes your brain burn a little bit, but in a good way. And like, it's all about the iconography on the cards. And pretty much you can do, I think it's 4 different actions on your turn. And it is draw a card. You can meld a card, which means to play it into your tableau. You can do a dogma, which is enact one of the effects on a card already in your tableau. Or achieve, which is like acquire achievement points, which is what you're trying to do, is acquire the most achievement points. And it's just like you were talking about in with Castle Combo. There are various icons on cards, and I don't remember all the cards, but I just think of the colors. There's like a purple icon, there's a blue icon, there's a yellow icon, there's a green icon, various different icons.
I've got them all open real quick. I can it's sciences, technology, culture, that type of stuff.
And you have various levels of cards, like 1 through 9 or 1 through 10, and like a level 1 card is something like the wheel, like inventing the wheel. And then like a level 9 is like, quantum physics or something like that, right? And you're pretty much going through and you are, discovering all of these different things. But as you're playing cards, it's going to give you access to pretty much purchase, larger level cards, like level 2 cards and then level 3 cards. But acquiring achievements is what you're trying to do to score your points. You have to have like this I think it's a 2 times or a 3 times multiplier. People correct me if I'm wrong, but I know there's a multiplier based off of the level that you're trying to acquire. So if you're trying to acquire a level 9 achievement card, I think you have to have like 18. I think it's like an 18 point value within the cards that you have to be able to do that. But this can be a very mean game, especially when you're playing it 2-player, because there's certain cards that you play out, and when you power that card, or you enact the dogma on that card, it might like pretty much kill a card on your opponent's side, or it may do so many different things. But there's so many different like intricacies to this game. Like you have this idea of tucking cards under certain cards. You splay cards, so you can either splay cards to the left, splay cards to the right, splay cards up, splay cards down. And what it does is it's very important to know the cards that you have like in your tableau and which way you splay the card, because what that's going to do, it's going to reveal specific icons on the cards underneath that are going to help your tableau as you build it out, and your civilization as you build it out. And it's weird because this is a civilization building game, right?
In a tiny box.
In a tiny box.
Yeah.
You don't really feel like you're building a civilization, but it is a really neat little game. It really is. Again, it's weird. It really is. But it's one of those that like when you play it for the first time, you're going to be like, what? I have no idea what's going on. But then when you sit back and you go through, you're like, man, okay, now I get it. Now I understand how this works. Let's go at this again. And the game it can play as fast as 20 minutes. Sometimes it can play up to like maybe a full hour. But it's like, I would say it's in like that. It's a medium weight style game. It's almost at like a 3-point weight on BGG. But yeah, this one is a really neat little game. It's all understanding about how you got certain cards. Like sometimes you're able to return cards back to your hand or to your opponent's hand to be able to play that card again, to give it a little bit of power. It's just a really neat little tableau builder. I think this is one, it'll never leave my collection just because of that. And it's what, again, as much as Tim had raved about this game, he says, every time I want to play a game, I want to play Innovation. I was like, let me go pick this game up. I found it like on, honestly, I think like Amazon for like maybe $15 to $20, and I played it and I loved it. And it's on BGA.
Yeah, I literally just saw it on Amazon for like $20, $19 right now. I'm like, there are 2 games that I put in the same category in my brain. They are games that really kickstarted a genre and are beloved, and yet they have really weird, clunky graphic design.
Yeah.
And those are
This isn't
innovation
pretty.
and Race for the Galaxy, you know,
Yeah.
and both, and what's weird about them is that those are my genres. I love tableau building and I love engine building, so I need to play both of them. Innovation specifically, I'm really intrigued by whatever you called it. I think they call it splaying, right? Is what you said, the
Yes.
splaying part, and that is really interesting to me. So, and I feel like I'd like it way more in person to do it. I know I've tried them both on BGA, like just clicking around, but you and I have just started innovation games, so we'll report back and see how that goes. I'm really
It's a
intrigued
fun
by it.
one. I love it at every player count that I've played it at. I really do.
And yeah, it doesn't seem to have a solo mode, so that would be interesting. But that's great. Okay, my last pick. I did not even. Those are the two, Nar and Castle Combo. I was like, these are the two I really want to talk about. There were so many others that I either have only played a few times or I felt like were maybe cheating. But I have three that are just I haven't played them a lot, but I just wanted to do a rapid fire honorable mentions as my pick three here. So number one is Toy Battle. And I've been playing Toy Battle a ton on Board Game Arena. It is a head-to-head Paolo Mori design, also with I forget his first name, but it's Zucchini. Mr. Zucchini is his actual last name. I think it's Alessandro Zucchini. Correct me if I'm wrong. And the thing about Toy Battle is it's another one like Castle Combo. So many people look at it and wrote it off because it looks like Clash of Clans. You know,
Myself included.
Yeah, and it is so good, and it is skyrocketing up like rankings and stuff. Like, it is a very good game if you like that type of head-to-head stuff. Again, I could never get my wife to play this one, but it is really great. The thing I love about it is how much they pack in the box. I've only played it one time in real life. And this was Colin's copy. Alba gifted it to her for Christmas. To him for Christmas, and we played it right there. And they give you like these really nice wooden, almost like straight up Scrabble holder for your tiles. And the tiles are so thick and chunky. Like BGA would really mislead you to think that it's like these small things. There are really chunky cardboard tokens that you get to play down. And there's, I think, 6 or 8 boards in the game. I think it's 8 boards because it's 4 pages and they're double-sided. So in the box, you have so much replayability. So I have to shout out Toy Battle. I do not own my own copy, so I felt like it needed to be a rapid fire. Same with we talked about White Castle. I think White Castle is really the best of the best when it comes to this. I talked about it in my top 10.
I agree.
So did you. But I do have the dual version. We talked about dual. I think a lot of dual versions kind of come into smaller packages. So I have White Castle Dual. I've played that also one time, and my wife and I really enjoyed that. If you've played the White Castle, you will really like the dual version. And there's so much componentry in this tiny box. It's that small. It's that square Devere size, not their taller rectangle ones. But I did want to give that a shout out because there's a lot of game in that, and it's got a really unique worker placement system because when you you do a round one, you place out all your little pillars and you have to stack on top of each other, and they're different colors, and based on the color you trigger certain things. And in round 2 you have to return pillars to your board, and based on which one you take from the top where you land on your board, you get more triggers. It's really cool. And then the smallest one, the most rare hidden gem that I feel like nobody ever talks about, I'm going to open up the BGG page real quick, is called Walking in Burano here. Sorry, of course.
I've heard of this one.
Yes.
I know a lot of people that have played it that love it, but I've written this off so many different times.
Yeah.
But I've got to get a chance to play it because I know that a lot of people that I respect their decisions say that they love it.
It's such a cool game, and yet, I mean, it's got weird, like almost anime art, to be honest, for a game that's like set in Italy. And it's so, again, another one of those. There's so much packed into this tiny box. It's that AEG Emperor S4 like combo, that type of like tall box, almost like a Point Galaxy or Point City, Point Salad size box. It's got all these different colored square cards, and you are trying to build up your own tableau of streets. And in Burano, which my wife and I have actually been to, which is we also have a little bit of an affinity for it, is that it's all these colorful houses. And so there's like blues and greens and pinks and reds, and you build them up, and then you score based on the public objectives of how many of these you have. And it's even got solo play, which I haven't even tried, but it is a really clever little game. It's one of those, it could have been on my list last episode because it's just one that's so rare. I feel like it brings something that I don't have in terms of like the size and complexity. And so I just don't really want to get rid of it, even though I don't play it that often. So I just wanted to shout it out. Yeah. Were you going to say something about that, Jazz? Because it does
this
look
is
cool.
one
Yeah.
that I had I have seen. I know I forget. It might have been Dwayne who
yeah.
had this, or maybe it was a local buddy I think who had a copy of this and really enjoyed it. Picked it up I think at a PAX Unplugged a few years back. Yeah, it was a local buddy. I remember Carlos, who I used to play Dice Masters with. Yeah, but I think he picked this up and he told me that it was a really, really good game. Him and his girlfriend at the time, I think they're engaged or married now, really enjoyed it. And I know the most recently this PAX Unplugged, the one game I saw that reminded me of this was from Mighty Boards, and it's a 10B. Kind of give me that same idea.
Which is newer, yeah. 10B is like brand new, right? Yeah.
Kind of like building your streets out and scoring based off of like the public objectives within that you're building your public objectives and the street and the houses as you go through. So yeah, both of those are, kind of remind me of one another, kind of each other. But yeah, I'm interested in both of those.
Yeah, it's a cool one. I would bring it around. I would legitimately bring it to a convention because it's so small. So that's my pick number 3, or like 3 rapid fire: Toy Battle, White Castle Duel, and Walking in Murano. All right,
solid picks.
We're going to make it to our final here, which is En La Mesa. And Jazz has 2 for us. He's got a bonus. He's got a BOGO, a buy one, get one for us here. So Jazz, take it away.
Yeah, I have to shout out this publisher, small publisher. Chad over at 25th Century Games has been doing it really big over there. I remember at every convention, it's just like very small booths, but by the last day of the convention, all of their games are pretty much sold out. And whether it's by word of mouth, somebody playing the game, many of the games are kind of small box. I think their biggest design is, Raw, the new Raw, deluxeified, beautiful component edition. But yeah, these 2 games, I purchased a copy of both of these, but I know I have a couple games that I need to review from 25th Century Games again. I've been working my way through that pile. But this is Botswana, Dr. Reiner Knizia.
The one and only true living doctor.
This is originally came out in 1994. And has had a lot of different re-implementations, and most recently in 2025 had a redesign, and it was brought back into circulation by 25th Century. And this one is I guess it's a public tableau building style game where there's a deck of cards and in various suits, and each suit is indicative of an animal. You have the lion, the giraffe, you have the meerkats, the hippopotamus, you have the elephant, and each suit is valued. He has 1 card of each number, and it's a 0 through a 5, and pretty much those numbers are going to be the points that these animals are worth. And on your turn, pretty much you are going to be playing a card into I think of Coloretto, but you're playing it into a pile. You play a card of a value, and then you draw a meeple, a meeple of one of these animals. So if I play an elephant card, I can still pick a giraffe meeple if I wanted to.
Don't have to grab the card that you're playing. You don't have to grab the animal of the card you're playing. Yeah.
Correct. And how this game works is players are doing that and drawing cards, and you're going through and playing. You just have the hand of cards. Sorry, you're not drawing a card. And the round end trigger is once the 6th card of a specific animal is played. But what's really interesting as well is you also discard a set number of cards out of the game, and those cards are not in circulation. So you're always this information that you do not know what those cards are.
A little bit of hidden information.
Yes, a little bit of that hidden information.
Unless you're playing full player count, though. That is true. If you're playing 5 players, you don't hide any. Yep.
I haven't yet played it with 5. I've played it with 2 up through 4. And really cool because you're looking at the cards, and what happens is once that 6th card of a specific animal is played out, it immediately ends the round, and you look at the last card played for each specific animal, and every animal meeple that's in front of you, that last card played, whatever that value is going to be the points that specific animal is worth.
That each
so
meeple is worth.
Yes,
yeah.
each specific meeple is worth. So it's really cool because like you can come in and like all your lions are worth 5 points, and then someone drops that 0 card and you collected all the lions, right? And it's worth 0 points. So that push and pull, I introduced this to my game group, and man, they really loved it. It was like they never had played it before either. They heard about it. It was one of those where they kind of wrote off, and they really enjoyed it. Games playing like it says 20 to 30 minutes on the box, but you could really make it like 15 minutes. But they get some of those thinky turns too, where it's like, what do I have? When do I hold on to this? I know what I have in my hand, but I don't know if my opponent is like sitting on all the lion cards, right? So it's like knowing the right time when to play it, or is that sixth lion card out of the game, and you have no idea. So yeah, really fun one. What do you think of this one, Reg?
Yeah, I got to chime in on Botswana because I just played this for the first time last week, which is so funny. I got it for my birthday as a birthday gift. I threw it on my list because I'm like, it's cheap, and we love to support local game stores, but when it's my birthday and my mother-in-law wants a list of games for me to get or like birthday gifts, I usually send her an Amazon list, and so it was really cheap. Anything that's available on like Amazon or Barnes & Noble is going to be more likely that I get it as a gift because then my mother-in-law will get it for me. So shout out. But what's crazy about Botswana, I am going to put this as number 1 on my list. All of you, dearest gentle listeners, you get like a sneak peek for a YouTube video I've been working on, like board games that anyone can play. It 100%. Is one of the simplest games I've ever played. It is play a card, grab a meeple, and at the end of the game, whatever the last card that was played for each animal is how much it's worth. That's the whole game. But while you're playing it, the tension is so real because I'm like, if I'm holding the 0 for meerkats, I'm the dictator. I can decide if I want meerkats to be worth nothing, or I know I can hold out as long as I can, and maybe I won't have to play that card. And so I want to be the meerkat like hoarder and get the most points for it. There's so much tension in it for such a small thing. And again, I love the nature theme. It really brings me in. The art is gorgeous on this game. I put it on my Instagram story a lot because like it used to be Thor, it used to be Beowulf. It's had multiple themes, but I love this like Botswana theme. Shout out to that game. I'm a new fan. I cannot wait to show it to my family, like my family and my wife's family. I want to see how it goes over with non-gamers because I think
100%. I have to chime in with that because the first time I played it was with my wife, and she was like, let's play this again. This was fun. It's thinky, but it doesn't brain burn you, right? It's that right complexity of thinky. We're playing this at like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. We played a couple games. I was like, afterwards, it's after midnight. And we were like, I taught this one to my 6-year-old daughter. She loves it. Lila's a huge fan of this game.
Okay, that's awesome to hear.
Yes. But again, she's been playing games since she's been 2, like, and I introduce her to games as she's getting older, and now she's in 1st grade. She knows how to read, so she's able to read and also now, make the critical thinking on what she's reading and make her own, player agency decisions, which is
so
cool.
Awesome.
I
could not be more excited for anything about my daughter's life than her learning games on her own. I'm so hyped.
So again, you don't have to know how to read because there's just number values, but just a really awesome game. So yeah, big shout out to what the 20th Century did by redoing this. And it's funny because I played this game a few years back and I didn't even know that it was going to be the Botswana. It was the version loco, which was it was color cards. I remember playing this. I forget at what convention. It might have been a Gen Con 2022, 2023. I think I went to Gen Con. Only Gen Con I've ever been to, and that alternate game Loco, I remember playing it for the first time at a convention, and I remember Chad introducing it to me and a group of friends, and he said, this is one that I'm thinking of bringing in. What do you guys think? And I'm like, oh, yes, this would be awesome. And what do you know? 3-4 years later, they drop it.
That was Fantasy Flight Games. Wow, I didn't even know what. So it was originally published as Flinka Pinka, and then it was named Quandary Loco. It's been called at Wildlife Safari and Botswana. Eagle Griffin was 2010, and it's also been called Thor and Irish Wolf. Like, what in the world? So many names.
Awesome one. And then over to my next one is Wine Cellar. Again, I introduced this one to my wife along with Botswana on the same evening. And we played multiple games of both of these. Wine Cellar is a 2025 design, 1 to 8 players. I haven't played it solo, and this one was struck me as I liked the theme, the Wine Cellar theme. It is a another tableau building type game, but what I really like about games that have this mechanic where it's I play a card, and the card that I play becomes the tableau of what I'm going to be drafting the next round. So this is a card drafting game, and the cards you play based on the value dictates the turn order that you get to select from the cards that are in front. And this is all about running a wine cellar. This is from designer Andrew Stiles. And if you are looking for a game to take to a winery, this is 100% should be on your list. It's a small box game. And each card, the cards are elongated. They are pretty much wine bottles. The wine bottles come from different countries. They have little country icons on them, and you're going to be dealt a secret objective. And you could deal 2. I think the rules say deal 2 objectives to each person. They can choose one, however you want to do it. You can house rule it, do 3 when you're playing the first time. And each card is a wine bottle, and it has like 8 different slots on it. Right, and it's 8 rounds. So pretty much, there's at the beginning of the game, there's going to be a set number of wine bottles out in the display, and what you're going to be doing is playing a card, and based off of the number value at the top of the card, you're going to draft a card, a wine bottle that's in the display in front of you. And you take that wine bottle and you place it to start your tableau. The next time you do it, the next round, you have a choice to place that card above or below the wine bottle that's already in your cellar.
Tableau. Okay.
Yes.
Interesting. Mm-hmm.
And then, again, you're going to play another card, and you're going to place it at the top or at the bottom. Now, again, you're going to get some wine bottles that are going to be locked into certain spots because you can't play in between. Once you draft all your wine bottles, what you're going to do is you're going to look at the each wine bottle, and the 8 values that are on each wine bottle correspond to the spot that wine bottle is on your cellar. So some cards at slot 1, it might be a value 8 if that wine bottle is in your number 1 space. But if it's in your number 2 space, that wine bottle might drop to like only worth 2 points. So trying to like push and pull and how you're going to draft these specific wine bottles, where are you going to now place it above or below? Because now you got to figure out what's going to be available to you the next round. And that's where sometimes the card that you play, yes, you want to sometimes go first, but sometimes the card that you play is a card that you want to get back because you know it's going to fit in your 4th spot the most perfectly. But what's cool is that the wine bottles are specific types of wines, right? And also from different countries. So you're going to draw, the card that you draw at the beginning of the game is going to be a customer card. It's a secret objective card, and your customer might be looking for this specific
French
red
wine
or French wine,
yeah, okay.
or wine from USA, and you're going to get bonus points based off of how many of those specific types of wines are in your wine cellar at the very end of the game. Awesome game. I love it. I'll champion this game. So
is it bidding, or would you call it like auction and bidding? Because that's what I thought. I was marketed it to. Yeah, it's like,
yes, it is an auction and bidding.
Yeah.
It is an auction and bidding drafting style game, but you're pretty much bidding with the cards that are in your hand. So, if I remember correctly, I don't remember if it's the highest or lowest card. The highest or lowest value card that you play gets to draft first.
Got it.
And I think it's the higher
that's
value.
That's kind of the bid.
If I remember.
So you play the highest one, then you get to pick first.
Yeah, you get to pick first. And it's really, really cool. And yeah.
The art is amazing. Yeah, shout out to Vincent Dutrait, man.
Listen,
Holy moly.
Vincent Dutrait art. Listen, this is the one thing I'm loving about 21st Century Games. They're bringing in some really good games. They're getting some amazing artists to put these games. Every game that they've been putting out has been amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
And again, we've talked about this many times. We are trying to get people into this hobby. It is the best hobby in the world, and if it looks great, like you can really, it's so much of an easier sell, to people.
I think this is one of those things you take it to a winery. Either you're going to have people coming around the table, or the person that's serving your wine at the winery is going to be like, "What is this game?" You might even. I think this is one of those things that they might even sell if you're at the white winery and the owner
we
comes
need to
by.
buy this. And,
100%. Yeah.
I'm gonna go to I'm going to go to my local winery here in Oregon wine country. Okay, I will say on the mechanisms, it says it calls it an auction sealed bid. So basically everybody reveals their bid simultaneously.
Yes.
Okay, so that's like the one that Modern Art has that as well. So that's, and actually Nidavellir is kind of like that too. Okay, so I'm sold. Yeah, I mean, I was already sold. 1 to 8 player wine themed bidding game with drafting and everything. Like, it's already been on my list for a long time. But
yeah, my wife already said it. And she's not the gamer. She said, next time we go to the winery, we're going to take this game with us.
Yeah. And did you play only 2 player? Just you two?
I played it at 2 player, I played it at 3 player, and I played it at 4 player.
Okay, good.
I loved every play of it.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. All right, wine, cellar, and Botswana. Love to hear it. I'm sticking with the animal theme. I already mentioned at the top of it here. This is spectacular here. Okay, it is a 2024 design. It is published by Chili Fox Games, but I did receive my review copy from Asmodee. So thank you so much, Asmodee, for this copy. It has an artist there. They're all very Norwegian. I'm so sorry. I'm going to mess this up. The artist is Jørmund Bond, which I love the art in this. And then the Svenssons. I think they're a couple. Eilif and Asmund Svensson from Norway made this game. And very much the theme of this game is to create our own animal preserve for very specifically endangered animals. So anything conservation themed, I'm just gonna let me throw out my bias right now. I love animal conservation. I love nature. I mean, I watched a 15-minute YouTube video on Zaboomafoo from the 90s, which really is my entire identity, and I got emotional because of how much that show meant to me as a child, and I'm sure that's the reason why I love nature and animals so much. The thing is, in the appendix, it even has all the animals that are in the game. They're very unique animals because a lot of them are endangered, but they've got, popular ones like the lion and the panda and a hippo and a reindeer, but they also have like the African wild dog, one of my favorite animals, the black rhino, musk ox, Hector's dolphin, pangolin, all so cute. Thematically, it is very adorable, but to be honest, it almost plays abstractly. It's a lot about the dice here. And so this is one that I'm like, this could be a future topic. So again, I want dearest gentle listeners, listen here. I'm going to say what this game reminds me of, and let me know if you want us to do a whole episode on this, is what I call like, if these two babies had a game, oh my gosh.
Yes.
If these two games had a baby, do you want to make
I
a
love that
guess?
topic. Yes, let's do it.
Oh yeah. Okay. I got it. I thought, we should do it. But if these two games had a baby, this game mechanically is almost exactly the same as a game of Sagrada mixed with a game of Cascadia.
Cascadia.
I can see it, put together. You can see these tiny little dice that are colorful that have to go on certain spots, and you have these hex tiles that you can put anywhere, but it behooves you to keep the habitats together. And it is literally an animal theme in that way. It goes 1 to 6 players. 20 to 30 minutes. I've played it a couple times. Shout out to Alba and Colin. We played this at a game shop in Portland, and Colin wiped the floor with us, but it was really, really great. And after that, I've been waiting to play it solo, and I finally got it to the table solo the other day, and I had such a blast. It has like a minimum threshold if you want to get to 200 points, and it starts saying, nice work. But it goes all the way to like 300 where it's like actually impressive. I got 176 points. And Colin's like, if you hit 200 points on your first play, I will start a religion in your name. I'm like, okay, I'm going to try my very best. And I got 176. I actually popped off and still couldn't even come close. I do want to shout out also really quickly, the component tree has all these tuck boxes. You can kind of see this on BGG. It's all cardboard. There's no plastic at all, which I think when you're making a game about animal conservation and nature, you do have to kind of put your money where your mouth is and do that. And it's in a really nice, organized way. It's a great rule book. But every turn, you're going to draft from this, I think it's called the supply board. The supply board is going to be going around. You draft 1 tile or 1 dice from the supply board, but you also have your own personal board, which is exactly like the Sagrada expansion, 5 to 6 player expansion, which has your own private pool. So you can either draft a tile or a dice from yourself and a tile or a dice from the supply board. You take them both and you put them on your board in whatever order you want every turn. So every turn you're adding 2 things to your board. It could be 2 tiles, it could be 2 dice. They score in all these really unique ways. You're trying to combine and make these watchtowers, which is the only way that you can place down 6s. There's a lot of different things going on when it comes to that. But if you like those crunchy puzzles of what do I put down? How can I put a tile here? How can I put a dice here? You will love this game. I feel like it still has kind of gone under the radar. I saw Rado had talked about it in 2024 as like his number 1 or number 2 favorite game of that year. And that's what really put it on my radar. Crimson has Crimson Board Games on YouTube. She has some great solo playthroughs of it too. And obviously my friend Colin plays it a lot too. So I've seen pictures in the text chat, but it's just a great little puzzle. It's pretty small for someone with like big meaty paws like I have, but just thematically and all those things. And it also reminds me of one more game. It's kind of like Sagrada and Cascadia had a baby, and there's just like a little flair of Sushi Roll. I don't know if you ever played Sushi Roll. Because,
I have played Sushi Roll. Love it.
When you're moving that conveyor belt around.
The conveyor belt around, yeah.
Yeah, that's what this feels like. You're moving the thing around. And it's one of those games where you really want everybody to say, hold on, pause. Now everybody place something on your board, and now let's move at the simultaneous, because some people will get ahead or be moving a little faster, and then you'll get lost. But yeah, you fill up your board, you get all these scoring. It's got a scoring where the 1s and 2s have these little hearts on them. Those are like breeding spots, and you only score. They're multipliers. You score based on the ones that have the little hearts on them. So it's just a great little game. I'm so into it. I think. It's on my solo 10x5. If I get this played 5 times in a row this week and keep going, I think this is going to shoot up my like personal favorite games. It's just a great little puzzle with a theme I love, and it goes up to 6 players. I'm very intrigued to try it at 6. I think that would be interesting. I think it's really going to be best like 1 to 4. But yeah, that's Spectacular from 2024.
Oh, listen, I'm looking at it. It looks really good. I remember seeing the box art for this a while back. So that looks like a really, really interesting, inviting game just with the front cover box art. But I never understood or never looked into the mechanics of the game. But like you said, it definitely looks like something, Sagrada and Cascadia, like you said, had a baby. But I'm looking at the Tuck Box organization. It reminds me of Leaf. Right?
Yes, which Leaf. Yeah, of course I have that. Yeah,
I loved
Weird City Games. That's what it is.
Yes.
Weird City Games.
Like publishers, if you can find ways, I don't know the cost of it, but like if you can find ways to add like these Tuck Box like storage into board games, I would appreciate that. Like there's no need for me to like 3D print something to make stuff fit.
Yeah.
Or honestly, even if you just added a Tuck Box for cards in a game.
Just the cards.
Like, just the cards. So I don't have to like ziplock the cards. I know they can stay together. Like I would love that.
Yeah, that's our plea from Board States officially.
Please.
So give us some more Tuck Boxes. Okay, that is both of our En La Mesas. So that was Spectacular. We kind of a little animal. It actually is based in Botswana, which is so funny. That's where
interesting.
You're supposed to be doing. Yeah, doing your thing. So I do have one quick thing here. We always talk about the correction section. We don't have any, but the new theme is correction section, baby. We got nothing today, but I do have to do a La Gente here before we close out. And I'll shout out a comment on Spotify. We have comments. You can comment on YouTube. You can comment on Spotify. You can email us at boardstatespod@gmail.com. But our friend JeramiahBlob commented on episode 12, Games We Love But Rarely Play, which we love. We wanted to hear your answers for this. And they mentioned Cry Havoc from Portal Games, a sci-fi theme with 4 factions, and mentioned a couple sentences about why it doesn't get played and stuff. But the final sentence, I have to give a shout. I love this, Jeremiah. I'm not letting it go, someday I'll get it played again with the right people. And that kind of imagination is just something that us gamers can relate to. So my friends, Colin and Alba, we have a little bit of a mantra that we say, and I want to put it out there to the Board States family and to Jazz here. It's our duty to imagine. Okay. It is our duty to imagine a scenario where this will get played. And those are like our house words. It's our duty to imagine that you'll get Cry Havoc played. You go for it, Jeremiah. You will get it played one day.
Yes, Jeremiah. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. That's, I remember, I think I commented back on that saying that this is a game that I remember seeing many years ago. It looks very interesting. I always wanted to try it. Never got the chance to try it, but yeah, Cry Havoc. So we're gonna cut this out, right?
Close out.
Let's close it out. But before we close out, as always, want to give a huge shout out to our podcast music by my buddy Judge, aka at Dre the Producer, over on the IG, and of course to Kenan at Punchboard Cathedral. over on IG for the awesome Board States podcast logo that you see. But also, we want to give a huge shout out and thanks to you guys, the listeners, hearing us talk about the best hobby in the world, board games, because you could be anywhere else spending your time, but you're doing it with us because you chose to listen right here on Board States, the podcast, where friends become rivals and board states decide the outcome. We will see you on the next one.
Nos vemos.